Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Blanky Speed here, and today we're going to be following Topson's mid Dazzle. This hero's really cool. Let me quickly break down why it's cool and why it's a good core hero. The main thing to understand about Dazzle is when you click your ulti, you do damage to yourself. The more times you click it, the more damage it does to you. However, every time you click this ability, it reduces the cooldown of items by either 3, 4, or 5 seconds. So you might be wondering, what items does this work with? Every item. It works with everything. This works with Midas, Blink Dagger, Force Staff, Glimmer Cape, BKB, Solar Crest. It works with everything. And so essentially you can itemize in a way where you're just playing for these lower cooldowns. On top of that, I kind of see Dazzle as like a discount tinker. And the reason why I say that is that eventually, unfortunately he didn't complete the item, but eventually Topson was going to go Overwhelming Blink. And you might be like, why would you go Overwhelming Blink on Shallow Grave Dazzle? This guy's supposed to be in the back casting his E, casting his Shallow Grave, maybe getting a Poison Touch out. You're going to see what we're talking about when this hero can literally be a discount tinker as the game progresses, and let's get into it. Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game Leap website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken and really take your game to the next level, I'm going to be able to help you, because sometimes the guides on YouTube, there's either not enough of them, they're not specific, or they're just tier lists, which I know you guys love, but at the end of the day, the Game Leap website is going to help you get to the next level. So click the link down below and sign up. Alright, so in the laning stage, Topson ends up getting ganked early on, but he was able to win the matchup very, very hard later on. And funny enough, Dazzle is actually one of the hardest Kunkka counters, I would say, honestly kind of in the game, because it's very good at saving who Kunkka tries to all in. And on top of that, Poison Touch is just really rough for Kunkka. So in the early laning stage, what's really OP about Dazzle is that Poison Touch now does 75 damage at level 1 per unit instead of 60. So you can do, if you just hit 3 units, it can do up to 225 damage. Like for instance, if Kunkka tanks up a Shadow Wave here, he just gets evaporated. So does the Creep Wave, which means you push the Creep Wave in extremely hard as well. And for the mid lane, that's a good thing, because then they have to last under tower, right? And that's, you know, it's easy to deny them in that case. So unfortunately, Topson does miss some CS, but he is able to kind of force the Kunkka under tower. You can see he also can body him out easily with the Poison Touch. Definitely misses quite a few last hits, which he was probably a bit annoyed about here. But yeah, this hero is a brutal laner for melee heroes. Like Ember Spirit, Pango, Earth Spirit, Kunkka all get destroyed by Dazzle mid. Like this matchup is really, really rough. And you can see he's playing extremely aggressive, which has its downsides. It definitely has its downsides. The main downside, I'm not gonna lie here, is because he last hits so poorly, or at least Nisha denies it, whatever it is, it makes his bottle be late, and therefore this gameplay ends up not working out at all. Because if he has his bottle coming right now, you feel really good, because you're going to get topped off on resources and are going to be able to continue to put pressure on Kunkka, especially at your level 3 timing, which nearly doubles the damage of Poison Touch. Now what's really crazy about Dazzle is how long Poison Touch actually lasts for. Like I swear this lasts for way longer than you expect. Like for instance here, he puts it on the Kunkka, and if you watch this clip, you're like, okay, he's just gonna let the guy get away and not extend the Poison Touch duration. If you don't understand how this ability works, when you click Poison Touch on the enemy, you can refresh it by hitting them, right? Every time you hit them during the duration, it increases the slow that they take and refreshes the damage and the slow. And so you'll notice, I thought he was just letting him go, but this spell lasts forever. And so he actually, using the slow, gets another hit off and refreshes the duration, and he can actually body the Kunkka completely off the creep waves. Okay, he should not have pulled tower aggro there. But yeah, you can just bully these melee heroes like no other. And now it's just a disaster. Like Kunkka just can't lane. He just cannot lane, as he can use the heal to prevent Kunkka from getting any CS with the torrent, for instance, and can just continue to put pressure every time the Poison Touch comes up. And what's also pretty nice about Dazzle is the fact that the hero is actually quite good at rotating. Topson has boots at this point, which is pretty important. You want to rush boots as fast as possible on Dazzle mid. Of course, after Magic Wand for the laning stage if you need it, and bottle and raindrops if you so choose as well. But yeah, he comes over, gets a kill, and from there, it's kind of just about pushing out the mid lane quickly and then rotating. And this is what's good about Dazzle, right? If you're playing a mid hero, you want them to be able to push the mid wave very quickly. The reason why is the faster you push the mid wave, the quicker you can contest bounty runes, wisdom runes, power runes, and of course go gank a lane. And so yeah, if you want to go push out the lane and you want to go roam, your E is one of the best spells in the game at this. And so is your Q, right? Both of your spells are very, very good at wave shove. As I don't know how he finds that word. The next set of plays from topson are absolutely ridiculous, and then we'll talk about his items. First off, he's just going to push out the mid wave with the poison touch and the E, and from there, he's going to head into the jungle. On this side of the map, right, on Radiant in particular, Dazzle is insane because you have the option to drag these camps together and use poison touch on all 6 of the creeps, right? Then he's going to drop an E, which does a ton of damage, and eventually he can use his ult if he needs to refresh it. In this case, I guess he doesn't want to, he just wants to save his health, but by dragging the camps together, you can farm like a madman. And this is great because Dazzle scales incredibly well. First off, you're a universal hero, so you're going to be buying Ags. That means that all of the Ags components give you extra damage, right? Because of the all stats. On top of that, this Ags is going to make you extremely tanky, and let's quickly talk about what the Ags does. Basically, it upgrades your E. First off, the Shadow Wave will now bounce to enemies, basically meaning that it can do a stupid amount of damage if the enemies are clumped up, right? So it can Shadow Wave and damage people when they're together as well, right? The enemies. The Shadow Wave that hits enemies also heals allies by an increased percentage, and on top of that, like, it doesn't end there. Every person that gets hit by the Shadow Wave, every enemy gets auto-attacked by Dazzle as well. This is particularly notable because then if you hit them with Shadow Wave, it will reapply Poison Touch if you have affected them with Poison Touch. One thing that you have to keep in mind when you're playing mid Dazzle is that you do die very easily. Like, even though his HP pool is ridiculously high here due to all the stats that he has, and he can switch to Strength Treads, it doesn't really matter. You don't have mobility, you're not Pango, you're not Ember, you're not Storm, and so when you go for these deep gank plays near a tower, for instance here, when you make a move like this, you can't really get out, right? And you'll see in this clip here, that's what happens. He can't get out, and he's gonna get taken down by the movement from Liquid. And so be very careful about making these deep dives. You're not like other mid heroes in that regard. You're more so playing for these early laning stage kills, and then kind of a mid-game timing. I would mostly focus on killing people from minute, let's say 6 to 10, and then from there, slow down the pace of the game and farm up your Ags by pushing out waves and killing neutrals, and of course responding to enemy dives. However, I would avoid making deep, aggressive movements into the enemy side of the map due to your lack of mobility. Alright, and let's actually see the Ags come into play here as he farms the Ancient stack. You'll notice that the Ags actually works on creeps. And this is what's pretty crazy as well. Like, you would think, okay, if it just works on heroes, it's fine, it's good. But because it works on creeps, you just full heal yourself off creep camps. Like, I didn't even know this going into the making of the video, but clearly it's just kind of nuts. You just wipe out these camps, and it allows you to full heal, take stacks, as we see there, and of course, even in team fights, let's say you happen to be standing near a wave, you're just gonna full heal, right? Let's say Lycan's going on you, you're gonna heal. If Lycan's going on your Bane, right, with his units, you're just gonna heal the Bane for like 1 billion, because remember, if the Shadow Wave hits an enemy unit, it heals the nearby ally. So this thing is just insane against unit heroes, which are typically good against Dazzle, at least to some extent. Well, I would say to a large extent. On top of that, Dazzle is extremely good at roshing, right? Because of the fact that your E just heals for some ridiculous amount and your ulti refreshes the cooldown of it, you can just surround Rosh with 3 to 4 teammates and take it out easily. Now, basically what topson does is he continues to take stacks and kill neutral camps with his E, and every single time he needs to refresh it, he'll click the level 1 ult. You don't want to spam ulti too hard because the more you click it, the more damage it does to yourself, and it's exponential. So the more you click it, the worse and worse it gets, right? So be very careful about spamming it. However, at this point, once you have your Ags, you want to group up with your team. I would say sometimes you can continue to slow down the game, especially if you don't have Aegis, like for instance here. They have Aegis, right? So he feels extremely confident. They also want to take the Tormentor. So there's clearly a bunch of reasons why they're here. I would say the main one being the Tormentor, the second one being the Aegis. Because once again, you kind of die at this point of the game, and your main timing is the BKB that he has queued up next. And really, you'll see in this clip here how crazy the Dazzle heal can actually be. Sure, some extent of this is the brain sap, but you see that, guys? What the hell was that? It's because there's Shadow Demon illusions next to him in a Kunkka. Like, are you kidding me? Did you see that? Yes, obviously some of it was brain sap, okay? But it's level 3 brain sap, and brain sap doesn't full heal you from half health, okay? It's just crazy, dude. It's crazy. It's actually nuts, especially against these illusions and these units, right? It just is going to save your teammates every time. They picked Lycan this game. Liquid picked Lycan into Dazzle, Bane, AA. I'm like, okay, this is such a good Lycan game. But now you see this Ags Dazzle and you're like, Liquid kind of picked himself. I don't want to say it's like some direct hard counter, but it's certainly good, which is just crazy. All right, this next clip is just straight up ridiculous. There's nothing else to say besides this is ridiculous. Apparently Shadow Wave bounces to couriers, and so in order to take the Tormentor, his team sent their couriers to the Tormentor, and by using his ulti and a couple of poison touches, topson soloed the Tormentor as Dazzle with couriers. This is becoming, as the video progresses, I am becoming more and more skeptical about how balanced this hero is. I don't know. This is ridiculous. And now the next crazy thing is when you have Blink and have BKB, every time you click BKB and you click ulti, you reduce your BKB's cooldown. And that's the same thing for Blink. So if you need to get around the map, you can just blink, ult, blink. Like you just blink like crazy. And just so you can see how this looks, basically after he finishes farming this camp, he's gonna blink over to his team, and then he's gonna click his ulti, and you notice it just immediately brings the blink down to an 11-second cooldown. Also, a quick thing that doesn't come up in this video, but is pretty nasty, is that let's say you're getting gone on. You know how Blink has that 3-second timer where you can't use it if you're taking damage? If you click Dazzle's ulti, it just gets rid of that, and you can potentially blink out while getting gone on by like 8 heroes. I'm not kidding. All right, there's not actually going to be 8 heroes, but you get what I'm saying, right? It actually does work like that. And yes, this fight breaks out. At this point, Tundra's in a very commanding position, but the Dazzle is just so absurdly strong. And in these team fights where your team gets ahead, Dazzle's just ridiculous because you can continue to click your ult, and then that's going to allow you to chase with the blink daggers. We'll see here. Clicks ult, can blink, right? Even if he was taking damage, obviously consistent damage will cancel your blink, so you have to be very careful about that. But yeah, they can chase onto him. And this guy tries to BKB TP out. You think he's gonna live, but joke's on you, the poison touch does so much damage because it also allows you to get an extra auto attack off because the gyro was poison touch, and they take him down. By the way, Shadow Wave is physical damage too, so it's particularly good against low armor heroes and will destroy them. And yeah, in these push comps, like this is why I like this draft so much. They have it tied to be kind of a push comp. He can take the towers. He has a Vlad's. He even went Dragon Scale. So Tide's kind of this frontliner. He's the guy standing in the front. He's going to help with the team fight, help with the push, help with the front line. The TV's going to hit the towers. And TV Dazzle is such a classic good combo. You know what I mean? You heal up the TV, you heal up the illusions, you Shadow Wave bomb off the illusions. You reduce armor, by the way, which I forgot to mention. Every single time you hit an enemy with a spell, they just lose armor. That's good with Terrorblade. And then, of course, Shallow Grave with Sunder is just good. The guy gets low, you save him with your Shallow Grave, and then he gets Sunder off. And finally, I would have loved to show off the overwhelming blink, and you can imagine why it's good. Because at this point, you have such a high HP pool, which is great because the overwhelming blink, right, gives you a lot of health, so you can spam your ulti more. And then you just spam blink in this massive AoE, and it slows everyone, it kites everyone, it makes you absurdly mobile. It's just ridiculous. You're, as I was mentioning, you're kind of like a discount tinker. You could buy a Shiva's and then literally be a Walmart tinker. However, you're a tinker with a dominant laning stage and a very strong early game, right? And so that's the difference. I mean, it's a big difference as he just blinks into the whole team. Like, this is just ridiculous. Why is Dazzle blinking into like 4 heroes? It's just destroying them. It's crazy stuff. So yeah, I wanted to show this build off to you guys because it's so legit. I definitely think it's good, you know what I mean? It's not one of those things where it's like a meme, because let's say this game kept going. He could farm, he could scale. You can buy a billion different items. You could go a right-click build, you could go Silver Edge Satanic, you could go E-Blade Dagon, right? He could have went a magic damage build, for sure, you know what I mean? Why not? And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one, and I'm out.
And that's all, but remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.